What's up, everybody? Welcome to Theocracy. I am your host, Theo Snodgrass, coming to you live from sunny Las Vegas, Nevada. It's actually not very sunny today. It's very rainy. This is one of like 20 rainy days in Vegas a year, so we're going to enjoy it. How's everybody doing? Nice to see you. I had okay. This is the thing that I think I probably hate the most about streaming is I had a video for Wednesday's stream and I wanted to use it again for today's stream, so I went back to try to find it, and this is why the stream is late today. The stream is 10 minutes late today because I spent 15 minutes exhaustively searching every place that I keep videos that I use for the show to try to find the video that I used for the show, and I couldn't find it, and I had it Wednesday. I had it Wednesday, and it would have made a really good point, and I really wanted to show everybody. And the second the stream is over, I will find it again. That is the way things work. That is the nature of the beast. Just how things work with streaming. Nobody gives a shit. No, right. Browser history. About that. There's a lot of it to go through. So, and what's crazy is as you go through your browsing history, it actively changes. So, yeah, so I just went through as much of it as I could in the last 15 minutes. And I know it's one of those videos, but there's like 1,000 videos with similar titles in my browsing history because you guys only see the videos that I show you. You don't see the videos that I watch. The amount of research that I do for the show is incredible. You guys should be impressed. I really should farm it out to a team. As soon as that's in the budget, I'm getting a research team, so I don't have to do this shit anymore. Clipboard. Who invited you? Okay. Anyway. No, that's the thing is I usually do leave tabs open. I'm a chronic tab leaver opener. But for some reason, this tab is just, and it's just in the ether now. And what's crazy is I know the algorithm will bring me back to the video. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I have a bunch of videos that make the same point. I just thought that particular video made the same point nicely. For those of you that were with me on Wednesday, you remember there was this this video of this woman who was talking about some guy who asked her out, and then she like crashed out on him and rattled off like went into this like nonsense feminist monologue, and that got me thinking. I think a lot of the people just out in the adult world now are just like socially retarded and socially unpalatable, and I actually don't think any amount of dating advice can prepare you for that or can fix that. This is especially true if it's coming from somebody who's older than you, like people who are like, 40 plus giving advice to guys who are in their 20s now are just like, I've noticed consistently and wildly out of touch. Yeah. Consistently and wildly out of touch because, and I said this on the show last week, it's because they're playing a different game. When they were dating was fun. It was actually like fun to talk to people. It was like fun to hang out with people, and women liked men. And that just isn't the way it is now. It's just not. It's like there are like pleasant ones to deal with, but so many of them, like the average has moved significantly on that, where it's like they're incredibly unpleasant to deal with. And all they do is complain about how unpleasant men are. I have to say, most of the men I interact with are pretty pleasant and are pretty quiet, or at least if they don't, or at least if they're unpleasant, they tend to keep it to themselves. Guys just know that's not a good strategy for getting laid. Women don't give a shit. They'll just be loud and obnoxious, like publicly. And usually men will reliably still give them at least short-term attention. I have, not to, make it all about me, but I have cracked some very annoying women. As you're just waiting out. You're just like, okay, well, I can just get through this. I only have to listen to one more of these stories. And then I'm in there. I can push her into the Uber and she's gone. And I'm assuming women do that too, but probably to a lesser extent. For the most part, like men just The frustrating thing is like women are like openly like women are not like hiding the degree to which that they're feminists and they hate men. But I think one of the things they find frustrating is that men will hide their political beliefs on dating apps and they'll be like they'll say moderate when they mean conservative or whatever. Anyway, so I wanted to go into a bunch of that because we have a bunch of data on that. So we're gonna go over that in a second. That looks like yeah, I feel like this is downstream of people being stuck on their phones for one, but the other thing too is that like this is what I think people forget is that women have people constantly lying to them all the time. And I think that people aren't sensitive enough about that. Like especially dudes are just like constantly lying to women and constantly agreeing with women no matter what dumb shit they say. There'll always be some man who jumps out of the bushes like, "Oh, I never thought about it like that." Cuz he's trying to crack. So like that's the thing. It's like it's if everyone around you all the time is lying to you, then you're just not going to have good beliefs about reality that make sense because you're not getting good feedback. You know, that's I don't think we can say. Anyway, I'm going to start with this first video. We'll see how that's going.
Some women are becoming too far left to date. And I don't mean that they're so far left in their own politics that men don't want to date them. I don't necessarily think that's the case. But I do think that a lot of them are so far left, so far into their echo chambers that they can no longer socialize normally, no matter what the guy's politics are.
Now, this is about women in general. Women are easier to pander to and propagandize to and to market to.
That's true. I didn't say that, but he did say it, and I co-sign it. This is why every single like marketing campaign is directed at women, pretty much. The women control 80% of consumer buying choices because all the marketing is directed at them. So that's why even like when you market men's razors, remember when Gillette did that commercial about toxic masculinity and it was like, hey man, approaching women is wrong. And we wonder why we have a birth rate crisis. Oh fuck, there's another video I was going to show on that. Okay, now I'll say that for Touchgrass. It's fine. It's fine. It's just very sophisticated. Anyway, the point is, you know, either why are we marketing men's razors using the phrase toxic masculinity? Is that going to make men not buy your product? It's like, yeah, but women control 80% of consumer buying choices. This is also true of men's products. So a lot of times, like most dudes who have a woman in their life are not buying their own fucking razors. Like she's just doing all the shopping and he's just like using whatever comes home. You know, like single dudes are like not unfortunately not like a super lucrative demographic. It's actually way harder to separate single men from their money. One, because they have less of it, and two, because they're just not as likely to spend their money on frivolous bullshit. Or they'll spend on different frivolous bullshit. They'll spend it on like sports betting and video games, but they're not going to like buy tchotchkes at Target. You know. Yeah. Anyways, that's where that's coming from. That's all. There we go.
Which means women are easier to manipulate. Now, if you put a woman in an echo chamber telling her all of her poor behavior and irrational thoughts are true, that's what she's going to believe. Now, couple that with the fact that men want women, right? So there will be men who, even if they don't agree with what the woman is saying, they will agree with the woman. So the woman will like the man, therefore adding to her echo chamber. So everyone around her is always telling her she's right, she's right, she's right. And then she'll come across a man who will disagree or isn't afraid to share his opinions with her. And any disagreement from said man will make her feel like she's being attacked because everyone in my life has always told me I'm right.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got to think about that. You got to think about that. It's like, you ever have that moment where you're dealing with a woman and she's like saying something that's like completely insane and there's has no connection with reality, but she's saying it so confidently. She's like, yes, it is. And she's like being like super insistent about it. And you're like, no, what are you talking about? It's this right here. That's the phenomenon you're seeing playing out. Where her phone is telling her she's right all the time. Everyone around her is telling her she's right all the time and how great she is. All of them are telling her like that her like crazy, irrational, antisocial behavior is both correct and justified. And if something she did wasn't correct, it was someone else's fault. So then from that, she's constructed a picture of reality that doesn't make any sense. And you're trying to approach it with like logic and like facts and like truth-based information. And so that's going to feel to her subjectively like a personal attack, even if you don't mean it as one. Right? Okay. This is not every woman on planet Earth that's like this, but if you meet one who's like particularly difficult, that's probably why. It's a lot of them. It's enough of them that it's an issue. Right?
But here you come telling me I'm wrong. You must hate me. You must hate women. You must be part of the patriarchy. You must yada, yada, yada. But no, it's a man genuinely sharing his opinion on a matter, but she's never had an opposing opinion before. Everyone's always agreed with her. All the men she's been with have always agreed with her. But she didn't realize that all those men that were agreeing with her were just manipulating her because they were trying to get with her. That's why if you've ever gotten into an argument with a woman and she could be completely wrong and it makes you, and she won't give up on it, and it'll make you feel like, okay, this woman's kind of selfish. Like she can't even think about anything outside of herself, and it makes you think that she's selfish. But
yeah, this is why there's so many hot girls complaining into their phones, or women in jail. Now it's mids too. This is why so many women complain into their phones, because they assume that that other people should care about their problems, because in general, that's what happens in their real life. So that's why when they complain about, like, if a woman is like upset in a gas station parking lot, someone will come up and ask why. If a man is upset in a gas station parking lot, someone will come up and tell him to leave before they call the police. Like women, like they're just like used to people giving a shit about their problems, and that's like their default assumption. I think that's like hard. That's a hard one for like men to understand, because our default status is no one gives a fuck about our problems at all. Like past the age of about 10, I think that's when we start to notice the shift as men, where we go from being a cute child to a nuisance. And that does not correct. We are viewed generally as a nuisance until we're either get married or turn 30, whichever comes first. And then people start to kind of want to have you around. But past a certain point, as a single man, even the longer you remain single, the more people don't like it. Like you are viewed as a nuisance until your usefulness offsets that. And that's not the experience women have. Women don't get to stop. Like when you're a man, people care about your problems when you're a child, but past about 10, depending on how big you are, that dries up pretty quick. And women don't have that experience. Like even in adulthood, women can reliably expect that people are going to care about their problems. You know? Yeah, that's why you see so many women just bitching on the internet. It's just the world. This is what I'm saying. The world. This is what Greer anti-liberals getting at here. It says this is why equality between genders isn't real. The world didn't treat women completely like men are treated, which would be actual equality, right? Women are mollycoddled and placated like before, when men don't get that treatment. Yeah, that's the same thing. Is like, this is why I think feminism has always kind of been bullshit, because the idea was to get it's just to get a more favorable situation for women, which means like all of the rights and privileges associated with being a man, but none of the corresponding responsibilities. So you get all the favorable treatment of being a woman, plus all the rights and responsibilities and power of, being a man. That's always kind of been the goal, which is going to make people just like really obnoxious and hard to deal with, because they're just like, you're giving them a lot of authority to call shots and basically zero accountability to go with it. So, and basically you're making it impossible to criticize them for their bad behavior, or point out things they're doing wrong, or point out things they're doing that might be antisocial. And so when you try to do this to one of these people who has lived this way, they are going to think that you're like a bad, toxic, evil man, because they've just never experienced accountability before. The other thing too, let's get to this video. Actually, we got chats to read. I saw this today. A woman at work was wondering how to deal with an overeager man. She wanted to be toxic to him, and the other girls around her treated it like a joke. It made me sick. Yeah, that's the thing too, is like there's no like cultural incentives encouraging women to treat men well. Like the incentives are like it's fun for women to humiliate men, and their friends like encourage it. Like there's not. I actually met a woman kind of recently who she said she wanted like, we're talking about how she treats other people and stuff like that. She said the phrase, "I wouldn't do X, Y, and Z because that would be immoral." And I was like surprised a little bit. I was like, but it would benefit you. Why wouldn't you do it? And she's like, well, it's immoral to lie or swindle or whatever. And I was like genuinely surprised that she cared about how that she had, one, considered that her actions might have an adverse impact, and two, that she had considered it and decided that she cared whether or not her actions had an adverse impact. Because I've met so many women who just like absolutely do not give a shit. And they give their friends like horrible advice. Like they tell her, they talk about all kinds of like bad behavior. They encourage their friends to engage in it. And I think that's because that's just constantly validated by the culture. They're told, yeah, go ahead and just like fucking do whatever you want. It's life's a party, do whatever you want. And whatever you do is justified. And then if you say no, like I had this experience at a comedy show one time where I was at a dive bar open mic in Spokane, Washington, and there was a guy on a stage who was not like a touring comedian or anything. He was just some guy who drove over from Montana to do some stand-up comedy for once in his life. And he doesn't come out a lot, but he just wanted to do some like knock-knock joke about a farmer and some sheep or something like that. But the punchline is, haha, the farmer fucks the sheep, whatever. I don't know what the fuck the joke was. Doesn't matter. So I'm standing at the bar, just kind of listening, and this woman just starts booing, which for those of you that don't know, open mic comedy is not supposed to be good. Just any asshole can get up there and say anything for 5 minutes. It's not supposed to be good, right? So she's just like booing. She doesn't like it. And I'm like, don't boo. That's not nice. And she said, who are you as a man to tell me what to do? And I was like, I'm nobody. I don't have any authority here. I'm just a person with decency. And it's not nice to boo. So don't boo. It's not nice. She's like, who are you as a man to tell me? She just kept like repeating that. And she was getting like every time she repeated it, she got like more into it. And I was just like, hey, don't boo. That's not nice. I'm just a guy with decency. That's it. I'm just a decent person. And I don't think you should boo because it's not nice. That's it. That's all I said. And I was like, all right. Eventually I just walked away when I realized I wasn't getting anywhere. I think part of this is like a lot of women just by default view that every woman outranks every man socially, and that they just don't really see men as people, broadly speaking, or as people of the same social rank. They kind of view every man as a peasant and every woman as part of the aristocracy. That's kind of like the vibe you get. And it's not like all of them, but it's like certain people you deal with. You can tell. I think some of this is because in the school system, like we put men and women together, and like all of the tasks are like women are just like better at them because the job, what's the job in school, right? It's sit down, shut the fuck up, memorize information, be polite, be good, and whoever the goodest good boy is, we make him or her valedictorian, right? But it's way easier for women to participate in those games. And those are the same games that we use to sort people into status categories. And then that's how we decide how well you do in school. It's how we decide what college you go to, which is another status sorting metric. And then how well you do at college is whatever bullshit corporate job you could get, which is just daycare to stop you from having kids. You're not actually doing anything, right? But that's how we sort people into categories. And at every single level of that, it favors women. And those are the metrics that we use to decide who has social rank and who doesn't, right? So from that, I think women extrapolate that they're just like smarter and better than men, because in every way they've ever been compared, the men have kind of floundered and the women have thrived. And those are the tools that we're using to sort people into categories and tell people like who's good at stuff and who's not, right? So that's, I think, where part of where this presupposition, and then like it's just constantly enforced by the media, like men are terrible, women are awesome, and so on and so on. The future's female, all this stuff. So I realized like it's the entire fucking school system also reinforces this belief. So basically, this is my thing. This is what I mean by like dating advice can't fix this. Right? Like you being more confident and having like sick pickup lines and wearing a better cologne is not going to fix this. This is largely unfixable. Like the brainworms problem is real, and it's downstream of like multiple decades of deliberate propaganda and programming. Anyway, let's finish this video. We'll keep doing this. We're not getting a huge audience today, but I'm hoping that maybe this turns into, maybe I'll have some good shorts that come out of this.
In her mind, you're actually insane. You're crazy because everybody in her life has told her she's right all the time. Like imagine you were a prince or something, right? And everyone your whole life told you how handsome and how charming you were. Like you're the most handsome, the most charming, the most funny. And every time you talk to anybody, they would always laugh and, you're so handsome, prince. And then one day you set out on an adventure and you don't tell anyone that you're the prince on this adventure, and you tell.
Yeah, we get it. Like this is okay. This is a really good one. So I want to show this. So let's see. So this is okay. Just as an example of somebody who is not in touch with reality. This is a young woman who's having a hard time dating. And so we, the audience, are going to watch and we're going to see if we can figure out what she's doing that is causing the problem. I'll see if you can figure it out. I'm not going to tell you anything at the beginning. From her perspective, she has very reasonable standards. She should be able to find a lot of people. And she is paid for like the premium version of, I think it's Hinge is the app that she's paid for. So we're going to see if we can guess what she's doing wrong. Go ahead.
I paid for Hingex and I literally ran out of people on day one.
On day one. That's fast. Okay. Faster than you would have expected, right? Because she's paying for the premium version of the app. So she must get good service. Now, hold on. This sounds like she might be entitled to a refund, right? Let's see.
I paid for whatever the most expensive Hinge membership is. I did 1 week, and I'm pretty sure it's Hingex, but whatever the $25 a week one is, I paid for 1 week. I ran out of people in 1 day. I have only had the membership for 1 day, and it's already saying, oops, we're out of people.
1 day. 1 day. That feels fast to me. I got to be honest with you. I would expect to get more if I was paying for Hinge. Anyway, let's see what let's see what the reason is.
Change your parameters. You know what my parameters are? My parameters are 6'2" and above, anywhere.
For my audio only listeners, I'm making a face. I realize I should. I realize I should clarify that. Okay. Why is it that she's finding so few people that meet her parameters, guys? Starting with, first of all, what percentage of the population is 6'2" and above? Let's see. 3 to 4%. Oof. So she's taken out 97% of the population right off rip. That's tough. That's tough. Oh, man.
Between age 29 and 34. And then I bumped it up to 35, ran out of people again. How is there no one between the ages of 29
See, she's smiling. She knows. She knows what she did.
and 35, 6'2" and above in LA? This is one of the biggest cities ever. I don't know if I'm just not attracted to the people that they're showing me. Like, they weren't cute. I'm going to be so honest. But I tried to give a few people a chance. I think I sent maybe 2 or 3 likes. 2 or 3 likes out of everyone, and I've already ran out of people. It's day one. I keep going back to the app. There's no more people. That just, how? So I paid.
See, she knows how. She just doesn't want to. She doesn't want to accept it because, again, and this is downstream of, this is what I'm talking about. This is people telling you that you're right all the time. People that you can have whatever you want in life. You can do whatever you want in life. You can order absolutely anything you want from Amazon and it just shows up on your doorstep. You can watch whatever you want on a streaming service whenever you want. And you're trying to tell those people now that, by the way, these are people who have never grappled with reality in a serious way, who have constantly been surrounded by people who are telling them what they want to hear and telling them that the rules of reality don't apply to them and that everything is magical and wonderful and you could just like everything's always going to be what you want to be, and anything that disagrees with you is like toxic or sexist or a narcissist or part of the patriarchy or whatever. This is what you get. You get people who are very, very, very poorly qualified to evaluate and adapt to and contend with reality. That's the issue. And there's no, like, this is what I'm saying. There's no advice that anybody can give you that's going to fix that. And even if you could, I do not recommend try to deprogram one of these people, because you can try if you want, if that makes you have, like, I have the skill set to do it and I refuse to do it because it's too time intensive. It's just, you just got to get really, 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 really used to like talking to people and like getting rid of them quickly. You just have to be able to filter people out. That's it. Like, you can usually figure out whether or not, how somebody feels about these issues in the first 20 minutes of a conversation. You can usually suss it out. And then you just got to, like, do you understand reality or not? That has to be like the priority, because it's so crazy. It's so crazy. And it's just like, because the problem is like, okay. And then I'm going to show this one as well. This is a lot of fun. So the other thing too is that we are in this, like, okay, the big one is like, I don't know if you've seen this, women on podcasts forgetting about the worldwide campaign to make flirting illegal that happened less than 10 years ago. Remember that when we said, when women were like, oh my God, don't ever flirt with us. Don't ever speak to us. It's harassment. We hate it. And all the men were like, right, got it. And now they're like, why is no one hitting on us? What happened? They literally don't remember. So anyway, we're going to go through this. This is just more of this phenomenon. I'm going to tag this every time I find it. It's women forgetting about the worldwide campaign to make flirting illegal that happened less than 10 years ago. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Not desperate or pathetic to want to find a partner or someone to love, or there is that kind of.
Oh, hold on. I agree with her. It is not desperate or pathetic to want to find a partner or want to find someone to love. That is not desperate or pathetic. That is normal. I don't know why she's reassuring her female audience. I guess these are the same people that just circulated in the zeitgeist that, having a boyfriend is embarrassing. So I don't know. I don't know where they're at. I don't know what any of this means. I'm just like you guys, chat. I'm just like you guys. I'm trying to make sense of it. Just like any of you. How do we decode these messages? Go ahead, sweetheart.
Kind of energy where it's like, look at me. I'm here on display and I'm waiting for you to claim me. And it's just like,
Yes.
ooh, I don't like that.
I
Why can't we just
know.
be like cool first? Like, don't.
I wish we'd go back to when guys are just always walking up to you when you're out. Like, could you imagine? Oh my gosh, if you're like at the grocery store, at the gym, they're like, hi, I just couldn't help but say you're so beautiful. Like,
I'm telling you, guys, I know we're laughing. But like, guys, they don't remember the Me Too era. They don't remember. So you can't be mad at them for this. I know. They just spent all the intervening years telling us not to approach them, that they want to be left alone, that men are horrible, stay away from us. That's what they wanted. And they told us that's what they wanted, right? And now they're completely changing their minds. And they're like, but we do want you to do this. Right? Okay. You're not allowed to be mad. Remember that. This was our fault for thinking women meant what they said. For centuries, we've known that women do not mean what they say. They just say things. And they sometimes need a taco. We've known that. Our ancestors knew that. You know, and that a dirt farming peasant from the Middle Ages who was completely illiterate would have been able to tell you that. You know, but we as a society forgot. We're like, oh no, women said something. We better respond to it as if they meant it. Stupid. Anyway, here we go. So this is where we're at now.
I'd love to take you out sometime if you're single. If they were like good looking, I'm like, can we go back to those times?
And see, that's the key factor. They want guys that they're attracted to approach them. They don't want, and you can't know which guy you are until you approach them. It's just a huge bummer. I mean, you can kind of like suss it out based on vibes. But the other thing too is that like women have completely forgotten how to drop the handkerchief. So women have forgotten how to indicate to men that they're interested without, like, we've forgotten the basics of flirting because of, you know, COVID and Me Too making everybody socially retarded. Now everybody's like fucking terrified, you know, to approach each other. And there's like not like a, like, I can't help it, bro. Like people getting together just the normal way will require you to violate some like of the sacrosanct social norms of our hysterical, asexual society. We're living in the fucking surface world of Demolition Man. That's what's happening. You're just gonna have to violate social norms if you want good things to happen to you. Like, that's just how it is. I'm sorry. Like, you're gonna have to, like, because I'm telling you this. I'm telling you, despite all, I know I talk to a lot of guys, and almost every single guy I talk to is like shit petrified to approach a woman because they think they're gonna like go to jail or get maced or whatever. And but listen to them. They want it. They just want it from the guys they want it from. That's it. Anyway.
But because society has more and more changed women to be like the chasers or like things like this, it's like making a lot of men be like, oh, I can just sit back. And I'm like, I hate that.
Right. Is that what you guys are doing, by the way, chat? Are you just like sitting back and letting the pussy come to you? Is that what you guys are doing, chat? Did you know that? Is that what you guys are doing? Because I don't think that's what you guys are doing. I don't think there's a lot of guys who are like, there are guys, don't get me wrong. There are guys who are like sitting back and like, I'm just going to let the pussy come to me. Those are guys who are like doing stupendously well, right? Most guys are not, though. The overwhelming majority of guys are finding this minefield impossible and they're like checking out entirely. So like, this is her perception is that's the guys she's talking about who are just like sitting back and letting pussy come to them are guys that are like stupendously attractive and do super well. So that's who she's, you know, seeing. And those guys are not, you know, those are not the guys who are ever going to treat her well. Like, those are the guys that are going to treat her as an object. Her actual dating pool is, you know, the guys who would treat her well. But that's a whole other conversation. That's not going to. Let's see what the chat is up to. Oh, Kayla's here. What's up, Kayla? What am I walking into today? All I know is I see Zechariah Stitched books on a girl's shelf, and I'm wondering if she's putting on a dumb act or if they're there for decoration, because there's no way in hell. Yeah, she probably doesn't own the studio. This is probably a rental studio. Yeah, this is they probably rented the studio. Recently married, life's not too bad. Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm guessing that it's a rental studio. And so they don't, you know, she's waiting for her book talk boyfriend who doesn't exist. Yeah, I think the situation a lot of women are in right now is they're banging guys hotter than they can get to commit to them, which is fucked. Which is kind of fucked. So she wants the guys that are as hot as she can bang to treat her well, which is colloquially is like having your cake and eating it too, essentially. It's like guys want a girl who's a turbo whore and fucks like a porn star but doesn't cheat. It's like, bro, that doesn't happen. I mean, some guys get super lucky with that, but probably not you. or a girl who's like, because anyways, a girl who's like fucks like a porn star is gonna have a history. She's gonna have a toxic ex-boyfriend that's gonna resurface at some point. Like there's baggage that comes with that. You don't get the thing without the baggage. Sometimes you gotta, like, the reality of human relationships is that you have to compromise on some shit. But there's the reason I don't talk about that as much is because there's way fewer men in that situation. There's way more women who have hooked up with like dudes that are not going to treat them well, who are like super locked in on because what they say out loud is, I want the bare minimum. I just want a guy to treat me like a human being. And guys who do not have girlfriends are like, oh, well, I treat you like a human being. What do you mean? And it's like, no. They don't want you to treat him like a human being. They want a guy they're attracted to treat him like a human being. You treating him like a human being is going to have no impact on your chances. It's not going to work for you. She's not interested. And I think that's really frustrating for men, because they're like, what the fuck, dude? Because like men, in spite of everything, that's the reason all this like bitterness and vitriol at the end of the day comes with the fact that people do want to get together. And men, I think in spite of all of this nonsense, do actually want women. And we want to do what women want us to do, but we don't know what that is. And we're going based on what they say, and what they say and reality are not the same thing. Because we're taking what they said literally, and they don't mean it literally. They're just like talking out their feelings, and that's going to change moment to moment. So like, it's really hard to like parse this out. Anyway, go ahead.
It's not desperate or pathetic to want.
Okay, she's done. But yeah, so her idea that like, oh, men are just like sitting back and like I'm gonna let the pussy come to me. It's like, yeah, that's true for like a fraction of men. A lot of men are sitting back because they don't want to go to jail, or they don't want to harass you or make you uncomfortable or come off like a creep. And actually, like, the fact that like romance requires social risk, and that it's the man's job to take that social risk on the front end, and it's the woman's job to give the man signals that indicates that his risk might be worth it. Like, this is dropping the handkerchief. We talk about this all the time. This is like, in the 1800s would walk by like the hot guy in a military uniform. She'd be like, oops, I dropped my handkerchief. And he'd be like, hey, you dropped your handkerchief. And now he thinks he's helping her. I say, oh, thank you. You're my hero. And now they're talking. They're in a conversation, right? And he thinks he just did her a favor by helping her out. And she has there's also plausible deniability. So if he's not into it, he can just not give it to her, right? And if she doesn't have to, and then guys don't have to just like shoot at random. Like, so women get the guys they want, and the guy thinks it was his idea the whole time. So everybody wins. The guy gets to feel like a big hero. Oh, I just did you a favor. She gets the guy she actually wants instead of shooting at random. It's a good system. Right. And there are kind of like ways that women try to do that now. Like, they'll try to do that with like subtle eye contact and like subtle signaling, or they'll kind of, in my experience, they'll kind of like put themselves near you and just wait. They'll do that a lot. Sometimes girls who are like really aggressive, I've noticed, will like bump you with their butt and be like, excuse me. And they'll like rub their butts on you. But like, the level of sophistication of the flirting and the mating ritual has really broken down on the front end, to the point that like things are like not being initiated. And we've made men like very, very, very scared of initiating relationships. Or I would argue not even really in a way that's justifiable. Like, I think a lot of men are like way more scared than they need to be. But also the other thing too is just like interfacing with women now can be very, very, very difficult, because so many of them are so confrontational. And this may be downstream of me being a stand-up comedian, so I meet confrontational ones. But like a lot of times, like, you'll just like, I think this is the hard thing for people like over 40 to understand, is like the average woman now is like feminist in a way that only the most feminist woman would have been like in the 80s. So it's a big shift. It's like average women now have like very deeply entrenched feminist beliefs that they use as like an animating force that guides their life. and that can be really challenging when you meet a woman. And I think for a lot of these women, it's intellectualizing like the fact that they've been hurt by men. I don't think it's actually like I don't think it's like actually an animating principle that they've like thought about or unpacked intellectually. I actually think it's coming from a place of pain. And this is a video, by the way, that was going around the internet. This is from a press run for that movie. Remember that football movie Jordan Peele did? It doesn't matter if you remember the movie. You don't need to know the movie to know the relevant context for this, but I've been waiting to unpack this clip for a while. And this is just the day we're going to do it. This is what happens kind of like downstream of a woman who is hanging out constantly in feminist echo chambers and never hearing a contradictory idea and what they're like to deal with interpersonally. Now, remember, she thinks when you watch this interaction, remember, she thinks she's crushing it. She thinks that she's going to be a hero. She thinks this is going to be like an amazing TikTok clip that's going to make her look really good. Remember, the whole time she's talking, she thinks she's the good guy. So let's pull this up. Yep. All right. So they're asking him a question about real men, masculinity, that kind of stuff. Can we get this to go away? Yep. All right. There we go.
Needs to hear what real men are. I think there's there's masculinity.
But what are real men?
Great question. I'm so glad you interrupted it. By the way, the question was asked by the reporter to, I think it's Marlon Wayans. It's one of the Wayneses, right? That question was like for him specifically, and the question is about men and masculinity. Go ahead.
Right. To me, a real man is a responsible man.
Because every time a man does some fuck shit, they'll be like, that's not a real man. And it's like, looks like a man to me.
I think a real man is in touch with his feminine
looks like a duck
side,
and it walks like a duck.
I mean?
Yeah.
I think a real man is knows how to unstrap from his
I don't
ego.
know. I think the real man thing.
Do you see how see how that happened? You see how like he's trying to give an answer and he's trying to be like really patient and he's trying not to step on her. And to the point, he's being overly deferential to her to the point of allowing himself to be interrupted. And by the way, his answer for what a real man is was not based. It was like a real man is in touch with his feminine side. A real man cries when he sees a really cute puppy. It's like, here's the thing. Even if he'd finished talking, I probably would have had problems with what he said. I was getting ready for that to be the issue. Right? And that wasn't good enough. This is what I'm saying. You cannot placate these people. We've got more on this. I think this Saturday on Touch Grass, we're going to take apart some Scott Galloway clips, and we're going to talk about why I don't like Scott Galloway, which some of you people might not even know who that is. You will. You cannot placate these people. You cannot make exceptions for these people. You cannot. There's nothing you can do that these people will like. They seek only your complete and total submission and subjugation. They do not want to compromise with you. So don't even try. Because he was trying to split the difference and compromise with her, or with not her specifically, but with the HR department that she represents. And you could tell he was nervous because he was wading into a very controversial topic, and a misstep in an interview question like that could be a significant career damaging headline. And instead, he ends up showing just a ton of restraint, wearing, I think that's a Prince of Wales check jacket too. Very good looking suit. All right, go ahead, sweetheart. What did she have to say?
It's just a thing like that people invented to like excuse bad behavior. You know?
Yeah,
like all men are real men.
Said like a real man.
Period. Like how it is.
I think being like, to further add on what she's saying,
do you see how fucking scared the younger generation is? Nobody wants to tell this woman that she's out of pocket. By the way, if a man was behaving that way, somebody would have told him to chill out. As a man who grew up chronically interrupting others, if you're chronically interrupting others as a man, people will tell you to chill out. And people who care about you should tell you to chill out, because that's the kind of behavior that will make people not talk to you if you are chronically interrupting others. Just how it is. Just how it is. Right? So, but the fact that he's using this as a jumping off point to add on to what she was saying and not to co-sign what he's, and you see how he's like powerless? Like, she's completely hijacked this discussion about men and masculinity. Imagine if a man bogarted two women this way who were trying to speak on femininity. Imagine the way that the headlines would be framed. And by the way, she is not being defended by men or women in the comments. It was the way the media presented it was like that it was wonderful. But you look at how fucking terrified this guy is. He's like, no. I'm a good boy. I'm a good boy. Let me virtue signal next. I'm a good boy. Go ahead.
There's this false narrative of what real men do, and I think it's tied into, privilege and masculinity.
He's just slipping as many buzzwords in as he can. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Listen how nervous he is. He sounds like he's got a gun to his head. This sounds like a struggle session in Maoist China. Go ahead.
And I think exploring that in films is important because, we're raising these young boys to be men, and we can go that extra step to educate boys and on that journey of how to, tap into the femininity, the vulnerability. That way we can further protect women.
I think the youth needs to hear what real men are. I think there's there's masculinity.
But what are real men?
Oh, fuck, dude. I'm not going to watch that again. Yeah, dude. So that's it. By the way, both of them said a real man is feminine. Both of them said that, by the way. So even if we had let them finish, we were not going to be happy with what they said. And by the way, that's not that atypical. Like, it's pretty common in like major metros to meet women who just deliberately interrupt, put down, and belittle men, especially when they get in a group. Like, it's pretty common. Like, a lot of women just like don't think very highly of men in, major metros. And that's the reality. And that's where like a lot of people are. Like, I know a lot of you, hopefully some of you, I have the best audience on the internet. Hopefully some of you live in like nice rural areas where you can hang out, but like, nah, like if you're in a major metro, if you're in the center of Wokistan, then a lot of the women that you're going to be meeting are going to be like this. And people ask me, it's like, why don't you're in Vegas, there's beautiful women everywhere. Why don't you talk to more of them? It's like, because this shit, that's fucking why. That just like makes you really difficult to talk to. And bear in mind, she's never had anyone disagree with that. Every time she says that, she's surrounded by a bunch of women and gay men who just agree. Or like men who are scared to disagree. Yeah, and I say that as a man who's not scared to disagree when I hear things like this. A lot of times it's not received well, but I can usually talk my way out of it. I usually talk my way out of any trouble I get into. So, because you just don't have to be mean, but you just don't agree with things that aren't true. And the reason I say that is because you're actually like not doing them a favor. It's actually not loving to treat people that way, to lie to them about reality. And remember, I'm Catholic. Put another coin in the jar. I'm bringing it up again. I don't know if you guys have heard. I'm Catholic. One of the is the definition of love in the Catholic tradition. It's selflessly willing the good of another. That's how we talk about love. So love is a choice, and love is about actions. Love is not a feeling. Love is about actions and choices, right? And you can choose to be loving towards anybody, even if it's the most unpleasant person in the fucking world. You can choose to treat them in a loving way. And sometimes what is for another person's good is that you tell them the truth. And sometimes that involves telling them that they're true, that it's true right now that their behavior is kind of unpleasant and you'd prefer that they not do it. And they may react really poorly to that, and that's okay. Sometimes you just look, in my experience, like if you're a guy and you're out here and you're trying to like date somebody, right, and they are behaving this way, or you encounter somebody and you're considering dating them and they're really hot, but they act like this, just bail. Just bail. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. There's enough good ones out there somewhere. I don't know where they are. I have yet to meet them, but when I meet one, I'll let you know. Let's see. Yeah, let's see what's going on in the chat. Men are built to protect, provide, and lead. Women are built to nurture, support, and bring peace. It's our biological nature as human beings. Very based. I love my chat. Shout out to the 4%. Ladies, we love you. There's been some kind of flip because the sociological aspects trying to warp people into rewriting the biological nature instead of learning how to work with these traits. Yeah, okay. So I don't have the video up ready for this show, but I do wonder if there's something going on epigenetically, because there's the genes that get passed on no matter what, and then what genes are active depends on your environment. Like pigs. Okay, you guys know pigs. We get pigs and they're pink and soft when you have them in the pen, and then you release them into the wild and they grow tusks and they get all crazy. So humans are kind of like that too. And I wonder if some of this low testosterone and some of these like men that are like, that frankly look childish, even though they're like chronologically older than you'd expect them to be, even though they look very childish. Some of that, I think, is in response to inadequate stress in the environment. Like, I think men especially need a certain amount of stress in order to have that warrior part of them kick on. And like, okay, like some of us, like I always talk about like going through like a second puberty at 30, kind of later in life, where like suddenly my voice got deeper and my hair got thicker and my beard got thicker and all this stuff, right? Some of that is just getting older, but some of that is like response to stress too. I really think that. So I wonder if like some of this like testosterone levels dropping and all this stuff is because men are not, young men are not, going out and tackling challenges in the real world. They're like smoking pot and they're using porn and they're playing video games. Not shitting on video games, by the way. I know I have a big video game playing audience. Love that for you guys. Glad you like it. Glad you have something you like, but there are some young men, especially, who have a problem with video games. Why video games are bad in this case, especially if you get them too young, is they make you think that you're doing something and you're not doing stuff. And you need to be doing stuff in the real world. You need to be building and like taking on challenges in the real world and embracing kind of like real physical stresses. And then that will, kind of like make a man out of you, so to speak. And we know this happens in terms of personality. We know that because we have that expression, we know that this happens in terms of personality. And there also may be like a physiological component to this too. And also, like, we don't know what the downstream consequences of like every single woman being on birth control from the time they're like 14 is having on mate choice. We don't know what that's, there's some evidence that causes women to select for more effeminate men. And it may be that like the men are like responding to like mate selection pressure and they're trying to act more feminine. I don't know. So there's a lot going on here. I'm going to have like scientists on the show to break it down though, because I don't fucking know anything. I am but a humble comedian and cultural critic. That's what I am. Yeah, it's a little bit crazy. That clip was like deeply frustrating, obviously, to watch. And he's showing what a real man is by not slapping a bitch. Yeah, he's showing a lot of restraint there. And I think a lot of women who are behaving in this very obnoxious way are in some ways taking advantage of men's good nature to say like really awful things. And I've said this before. Like, I think when a woman enters social combat with a man, that's like as asymmetrical as a man entering physical combat with a woman, because women are so much comfortable with like being mean and vicious in person and then like fucking spreading rumors about you and then like taking you down that way. Like, it's just completely asymmetrical. And men in general, at least good men, kind of treat women with a lot of restraint, and we try really hard not to hurt their feelings, and they do not do the same in reverse. So a lot of women are like very, 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 very comfortable being completely out of pocket and saying wild shit to men, taking advantage of men's good nature. A lot of women are very comfortable with that. And that flies because, I mean, you saw that both of the men in that clip are fucking terrified to contradict her, because she was going to freak out. They kept checking her for approval. Yeah. Yeah. And so, let's see. Yeah, that was tough. They both sounded like they were scared to say anything or contradict her or let her interrupt again. Yeah, it was like, it's so crazy because that kind of circumstance can only, if the world were as toxically masculine as she claims that it is, and if it were as easy for men to avoid accountability for their actions as she claims that it is, she would not be able to say those things. She would not be able to act the way that she does, and she would not be able to speak the way that she does because someone would oppress her, right? Like, actually, the fact that she could be as outspoken and obnoxious and rude as she is in a way that bothers not just men, but like every person with decency is bothered by a clip like that. And you can see that in the comments. You know, this is not women in jail, but the fact that she feels as comfortable as she does acting that way is a sign that the world is not as patriarchal and oppressive as she claims it is. And I think that's like, and I run into this all the time too, you know, and I face not as much anymore, but when I used to get accused of being like a toxic misogynist or whatever, and there's just some woman like shrieking at me in a comedy club parking lot, and I'm just standing there being like, all right, waiting for it to be over. Like, if I was really as toxically masculine as you think I am, would I just be sitting here letting you yell at me? Wouldn't I be insulting you back if I was really this guy that you think I am? But that doesn't occur to them, you know, because again, they've never had to grapple with the fact that there are some people who just like think about the world differently than they do, and that there are some parts of their worldview that may not be 100% accurate. They don't have like the toolkit to be self-reflective. They're just going based on the emotion they feel right now. Like, something about that question triggered her emotionally, and she felt the need to just lash out. Like, she didn't have like a rational, you know, response to that. Like, that was just, she got triggered emotionally because men were mentioned. And that's like her Pavlovian command word to go on the attack. And she did. And by the way, there's a lot of women in major metros who are just like regular ass women who are like this, who are primed in the same way. And they'll just get men, yeah, and they'll just get in a group and they'll just start talking shit about men in general. And it's very like difficult to like be in that situation as a man and to call it out. Cause I do, you know, if I find myself in those situations, if, you know, then I will call it out. I will point out what's happening. And then there's a little bit of confrontation. And generally the attitude is suck it up. But it's like, by the way, men do not just sit around bitching about women in the same way, at least not men I hang out with. Now, it's true, I do shit in the pool. Anytime somebody tries to talk shit about women, I'm always like, hey, guys, knock it off. I am the world's biggest white knight. So it may be that people don't engage in misogyny around me because they know I'm going to ruin it. That actually, I may just be a wet blanket. That may be, I may just like ruin the fun. Maybe that's why there's not misogyny around me as much, is because I ruin it. That could be it. But for the most part, like, it's very normal for women in major metros to just casually start talking just like the worst shit about men, like it's true in front of men, and then the men are just like, like they just like, even like super like macho accomplished men who are, you know, otherwise these would have been, you know, warlords in a previous society, and they're walking around like with hunched shoulders, just defeated because they have to succumb to the rule of the HR department, and they feel the tyranny that places over them. And they have to just operate according to feminine norms to survive. And it's like, oh, you poor bastard. Pour one out for the homie. You know, it's tough, man. It's tough. And look, and I know some members of my listening audience have corporate jobs. Some of you are at corporate jobs right now. The reason I do the show at the time that I do is because I'm trying to give those of you that work at computer jobs, I'm trying to give you a break in the middle of the day where someone's speaking sense. I want that for you. That's why I do the show at the time that I do it. Because I know some of you are out there at this exact moment working your computer job, and you've got your bullshit HR department. You've got some fucking, I guarantee you, if you went to your email inbox right now, there'd be some like invitation to diversity training or something, or you've got to deal with some bullshit DEI thing. Or you got to do some bullshit sexual harassment training or whatever. Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you. Nobody Anyway, let's see. Big Metro be like, welcome to the woke fields, motherfucker. Yeah, dude. It's like it's weird. And it's like every social interaction. What's weird is like conservative people will generally not insert their beliefs into random conversations. Some of them do. For the most part, conservative people have much more strict ideas about propriety and what's polite and what's not polite. And conservative people generally consider it impolite to argue about politics with strangers. And we find that conservative people find that cringe. Left-wing people do not, because it's their assumption that everybody agrees with them. So they'll just be like, it's a virtue signal, right? And they're happy to heap praise and virtue on themselves, you know? So I think that's that. By the way, conservative people remaining quiet in major metros is what allows woke people to continue believing that they have like this stable majority. And so many women, I fear, farm their opinions from consensus. Like they are not actually thinking independently. They're just going based on what everyone else thinks. And I was at a party one time. There's a bunch. This is the same party I'm thinking of where like, you know, this was a party where women were like openly talking shit about men. And one of the things they just like periodically they would just like shit on Republican politicians just out of nowhere, which is, I think, a part of the same virtue signal. It's all like, hey, we're part of the left-wing urban monoculture. We all think the same things. Remember, we all hate Republicans. And this one girl was like, I can't imagine why anyone would like Marjorie Taylor Greene. For those of you who don't know, she's like a crazy congressman. And I was like, because the people who like Marjorie Taylor Greene, she makes the people they don't like angry. You got to think like, and she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, they don't like left-wing people. And Marjorie Taylor Greene makes left-wing people angry. So they like that she makes the right people angry. You got to understand, her fans are like people who like professional wrestling. Does that make sense? She was like, no. And I was like, well, people who like professional wrestling, it's very loud. It's very performative. It's very brash. The words are simple. And it's exciting. And it's like, oh, ooh, like that's the point of watching it. Right. And she's like that. She channels that. So that's why they like it. She was like, I don't understand. Like she couldn't wrap her brain around the fact that there were other people in the world who thought differently than her. That's a big problem. That's a big problem. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you are a white knight. Shaking my head. Well, nobody fucking asked you. Creator and anti-liberal friend of the show. Men need to balance it better, their misogyny and their white knighting. Sometimes it's okay to joke about women tastefully be behind their backs compared to disrespectfully. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think it's very, very, very difficult for men to just see women as people right now. And that comes from like having limited interactions with them. I think the fact that we're all siloed off, we don't live in communities anymore, means it's very hard to get like a realistic picture of what people who are different from you are actually like. And this is well, and the other thing too is that like let's see, what of these do I want to cover next? I don't think I'll do this one. I wanted to talk about this one for a while. Okay, it's just like this is what they tell women relationships are like, and most women do not want to deal with. So, okay, man keeping is why more and more women are done with dating. Now, man keeping, do you remember that? It's like mansplaining, right? It's a new thing. We're going to talk about it. This is very good. Managing his stress, interpreting his moods, holding his hand through feelings he won't share with anyone else. All of it is unpaid, unacknowledged, and often unreciprocated. Is it any wonder that women are fed up? Bear in mind, this is from Vice. So this is what the media. How many views did this get? 10 million views. A bunch of people bookmarked it, including me. Okay. So, by the way, let's read this again. Let's read this again slower. Managing his stress, interpreting his moods, holding his hands through feelings he won't share with anyone else. Now, is there any doubt in anyone's mind that to the extent this happens in heterosexual relationships, it is more men doing it to women than it is women, the reverse. Let's go ahead. Managing his stress. Is that something men are doing for women more, or women are doing for men more? What do you think? Or is this just part of a relationship? Or is this just part of a normal relationship, the regular emotional give and take of a normal relationship? Look, I know a lot of guys who are in relationships, and there's a lot of like random shit that women get stressed about that men have to be like, don't worry about that. It's fine. That's a made up problem. Just like what, just stuff that's like, what if I bring potato salad to the party and every other woman also brings potato salad, and then they do a contest to rank order the potato salads, and my potato salad gets last, and I'm humiliated, and I have to wear a Scold's bridle. What happened? What if that happens? And it's like, that's not going to happen. Stop. Why are you thinking that? Just stop thinking that. Just don't think that. Why would you think that? Why would you think that? That's a lot of what dating a woman is. It's just like, she thinks she's going to die, but it's really because she hasn't she hasn't eaten since, 8 a.m. That's the whole reason she's upset. So interpreting his moods, right? Okay. I think far and away women's moods are more difficult to interpret than men's moods. Far and away, and it's not close. And women are like very esoteric about it. They'll like kind of like stare at you and expect you to like guess what's wrong, and they're like not very upfront with it. Like mostly men just like don't want to bother with it. Like we'll just like go be upset by ourselves. Like, and the fact that like all of it is unpaid, unacknowledged, and often unreciprocated. Like I guess it could be true that there's a lot of women who are in emotionally unfulfilling relationships, and I hate that for them. But like, look how upset this woman is. I hate having a boyfriend. Man keeping is why more and more women are done with dating. What they're actually describing here is just like the normal give and take of a human relationship. Just like being a person. It's like, I should be paid for this. And by the way, all of it is stuff that men do more for women than women do for men. Because women's emotions are like a giant pain in the ass to deal with for the most part. Like, we still do it because we just like women. That's like part of the deal. But it's a giant pain in the ass for the most part. So, like, men have just as much of a claim that women are a pain in the ass to deal with as women have a claim that men are a pain in the ass to deal with. They're probably both right. And also, that is kind of the point. Like, dealing with somebody who views the world in a completely different way than you makes you less selfish. That's kind of the point of being in a relationship to begin with. Is it makes you less selfish, and it kind of expands your horizons and changes how you think about the world. And it's a good thing to do, by the way. It's a good use of your time. But like with that out there, let's say you're a young person and you don't know very much about relationships, and that's what you see. You're like, ugh, that sounds like a lot of work. Why would I ever want to do that? Right? It's say nothing of the fact that someone might be also doing that for you. And that part of being a person is that life is difficult. Life is a team sport. We use the buddy system, right? And you assign a person and they actually help you with your bullshit, and then you help them with their bullshit too. That's the whole point. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, yeah. And it's weird. It's weird to like, it's like the compensation is the relationship, right? Like if you do all this emotional bullshit for someone else, they're going to also do that for you. And like this whole concept of like unpaid labor is like crazy to me. And this is like, people say, oh, women having children is unpaid labor. Women cleaning the house is unpaid labor. All this stuff. And by the way, all these stats about unpaid labor, I keep bringing this up every time we have this conversation. All this stuff is self-reported. So it's how people perceive, whether or not people perceive that their shit is out of balance. There's no objective way to measure whether or not men or women are doing more work. I think women certainly have the perception that they're doing more work. They certainly have the perception that they're doing more to maintain the relationship, but that their lives are harder and that the men are lazier. I don't know that that actually bears out in reality. Like, I know that there are lazy men, but a lot of the men I know who are married are going like way above and beyond. So I'm like, I don't see it in my immediate circle. Now, it's not to say they aren't there. That's why I see it. And I like a lot of the people I know who are in relationships, both people try really, really hard to understand where the other person is coming from emotionally and to try to help them with it. That's just like part of like relating to a person and just like wanting to turn that into a transaction is wanting to. It just makes the whole thing kind of dirty and gross. And by the way, this is coming from the same people who want to abolish capitalism, by the way. Oh, man. Yeah, let's see. I hate the entire thought process behind this post. Relationships should not be viewed as a monetary thing. This is because women joining the workforce, IMO. Yeah, and then now when we come from a we're in a society now where every single minute of your time has to be monetized or else you're not using it efficiently, which is very, 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 very stupid and very bad. One of the things that happens when you put women in the workforce is that women are not doing what they used to do, which is like make social connections between community members and like force people to hang out with each other. Like I'm never going to go to a neighborhood barbecue unless there's some woman making me. Like there's not going to be a neighborhood barbecue unless some woman is insisting that they put one on. You know, like that's the kind of shit women do. Like church bake sales. That's women shit. Like let's make a quilt and raffle it off. That's women shit. Let's all get together and celebrate Susan's birthday. There would be no birthday parties if there were no women. Especially adult, like kids' birthday parties. That's a woman thing. Grown-up birthday parties. If a man is having a birthday party, some woman is throwing it for him. Or a man's throwing a birthday for himself because he's hoping a bunch of women are going to show up. No women, no birthday parties. Halloween, that's for women. Men are not doing that without you guys. Christmas, no Christmas. Men are not doing that without you guys. Seriously. Thanksgiving would not happen if men had to make the food. Just be a bunch of air fryer dino nuggets. That's not a holiday. All of this is because of women, right? So the fact that like, hey, why is all of our like ability to socialize with each other falling apart? Why aren't people connecting in their community? What happened to third spaces? What happened to all this stuff? It's because we're trying to like monetize every single minute of our time, which is fucking horrible. And, women are spending so much time like working and trying to monetize their time and trying to buy more shit because that's what you told them makes them cool. And so they've stopped doing all the social work. And now they get into relationships and they're like, oh, why doesn't my man have any friends? I don't know. Maybe it's because every time he tried to hang out with his friends early in the relationship, you threw a passive aggressive shit for it and guilted him into blowing off his friends to hang out with you. Then you're complaining that he doesn't have any friends now. And like now women are not like forcing social connection, being like, oh, it's weird. Women will get their husbands together and make them hang out. Like they're taking their dogs to the dog park. They'll just like throw an event and then they'll all socialize. And then you're usually glad that you did, but like I would never like choose that ever. Like, I would never choose to socialize. I want to stay here in my little hole. By the way, every philosopher that's ever existed was a weird antisocial shut-in. I want you to remember that. I want you to remember that before you judge me for my lifestyle choices. I'm a weird antisocial shut-in, and that's how God made me, and that's what I'm for. I periodically leave to scream at strangers through a microphone, and then I come back here where I will resume being this crazy antisocial shut-in. That's how God made me. That's how I'm supposed to be. But that's the point, is like if I had a woman, I would probably own a second pillow and I would probably go socialize with people in my neighborhood more. I don't know. Like and so when you take women and you tell them, hey, in order to be a good citizen, you have to monetize every single second of your time. And you are an interchangeable cog in the capitalist machine. And you must go to work and clackety clack on your keyboard and not have children because that'll hurt your career. Then if somebody's like, hey, are you going to help us explore the emotional depth of this relationship? And are you going to, do the normal, healthy co-regulating as would normally happen between a couple? Are you going to do any of that? Are you going to do any of your traditional role performance? It's like, what? Are you going to pay me? It's weird. It's weird. Like, as women want to be compensated like prostitutes, but they don't want to be called prostitutes. But at the same time, there's sex work is work, and there's nothing wrong with prostitution. It's empowering. Just don't call me a prostitute, but also compensate me like a prostitute. How does any of this shit work? Like, it's not, here's the thing. This is what I'm saying. It's not logical. And I know it's frustrating for me. Even as I say it, this is that I'm falling into the trap you guys are always falling into. Because I'm always telling you, they don't care about, when we're dealing with the left, or we're dealing with feminists, or we're dealing with any of these people, or like emotionally immature women, which we're really talking about. Just emotionally mature women don't have a hard time understanding this. You can see that in the chat. If you want to find emotionally mature women, just scroll through my chat sometimes. Send some of those girls DMs. Jesus, I know some of you are single. So if you want to find emotionally mature women, they're in my chat. But we're talking about emotionally immature women right now. Who, like, for some reason, like, sex work is work, and sex work is empowering. Don't call me a prostitute. However, do compensate me as you would compensate a prostitute, or at least a sugar baby. A lot of women are like approaching dating with like a who's in it, what's in it for me mindset. And if you ask them what they do to make a relationship better, their answers are terrible. You also get the sense that I think men don't understand what women want anymore. Like, if men understood what women wanted, they would do it, but they don't. And that's a big problem. But there's also a big problem with women just like not understanding what men like. It's like, I don't understand why I don't have more dating options. I have a really good job. No one gives a shit. No one gives a shit. But I'm very educated. No one cares. No one cares. You're deeply unpleasant to hang out with. And that is going to fuck you every time, unfortunately. And I think a lot of men like really misunderstand. This is something too. A lot of men misunderstand. A lot of men think because women do like men who are over 6 feet tall and have a lot of money and drive fast cars. They do like those men. I think what gets left out of that discourse is that they also like a lot of other things. So just like you, okay, you're a man, right? Think about this. You like anime girls' feet, right? But you know that you're probably not going to marry anime girls' feet. So, at least not with the way the laws are moving right now. Washington, they're pretty close, but California, they're looking into it. But if you live in the rest of the country, it's probably not going to be legal anytime soon, right? So you are also attracted to like a hot girl who lives near you and wants to hang out with you, right? But you're like both. But you can't have the one thing. So women are like that too. They like the guys that are like tall and rich and hot. Like they like those guys too, but they might also like you if you are funny or interesting, or if you have a cute dog or whatever. Women are attracted to a lot of different things, and women are so men are a lot more variable in terms of what they are, and women are a lot more variable. They're a lot more similar to each other, but they're a lot more variable in terms of what they're into. And you just got to kind of like find a girl who's buying what you're selling. And the only way you can do that is to go do shit that you think is cool. And then the girls who like what you're doing will find you. Like now, that's really it. Just like go fucking make something, and girls that are into what you're doing will find you. And you could just kind of like filter based on that. That's your best snare. Like just approaching random women is a terrible fucking strategy. I'm sorry to say. And I've dedicated a lot of my life to cold approach. And my conclusion is that it's a giant fucking waste of time, especially now. Because you got to find a woman who's like who has not been made retarded by feminism. And that's really hard. It's really hard. It's a huge bummer. Let me show you. So here's the thing. A lot of women are noticing that things are bad though. So I actually think that's a good sign. I actually want to show this because I saw this. Actually, real quick, let's go through the chat because we have chats. Yeah, shout out Vagabond, friend of the channel. He's not even here. I'm taking shots at him. Yeah. All right. So let's pull this up. All right. Pew, pew. Now these girls look upset. Let's see if we can figure out why. Chat, let's see if we can figure out what the problem is. Go ahead, sweetheart.
If anyone's wondering why we don't date, this is why. We're literally in the middle of the road.
Okay, so dating in Scottsdale is cooked. Okay, and why are they? It looks like, what's she doing? It looks like this one girl's changing a tire. Let's see what's going on.
changing a tire because her tire went flat immediately after the date. Me, I'm just here for moral support and because I lived around the corner. But oh, and you're wondering where the date is? You may.
I am wondering where the date is. It was a man, presumably. They're not on a date with each other. She's just here as a friend. Not helping, by the way. Just here to film it.
Ask. He's at home, and you know what he had the audacity to say? Is it bad to ask if you want to come over when you're done changing your tire? These.
So bear in mind, let's set the scene. They're on a date. She's driving. She gets a flat tire. He goes home and is like, yo, when you get that tire changed, just come on over, shawty. You know what's funny? She's probably going to go over there and get her cheeks clapped anyway. She's probably still going to do it. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. That's rough.
These are the men. These are the men that are out there, okay?
No, I'm in the middle of fucking nowhere. These fucking guys keep driving by me as if I don't need fucking help. All the lug nuts loose, and I can't figure out where to put the jack.
Yeah. Maybe the bear will help you.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Maybe the bear will help you. Yeah. And this is what happens. This is what I call the breakdown in reciprocity. Yeah, this is what I call the breakdown of reciprocity. So what's going on here is so for a long time now, women have been saying we want to be treated equally. We want rah, rah, rah. Women can do anything. We don't need a man. Stay away from us. Don't help us. It's rude for you to help us because it's rude for you to assume that we would even need your help because we're strong, awesome, empowered women, right? And so because of that, as women are hearing, because men are hearing, sit down, shut up, let women lead, the future is female, there's no place for you, let women do everything, blah, 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 blah. Now, the social norms around women helping men helping women by default have completely broken down. And part of that is due to reciprocity. Like it used to be so let's just broadly speaking talk about chivalry. One of the reasons chivalry makes sense is because it's smart to have social norms where men help women with stuff by default because women are going to need help with a lot of stuff. It's just how it is. They're just like not going to be able to do the same stuff. Right. And it's good to have a social norm, to have a society that's set up to be kind to women. That's smart because that's creating like safety and comfort for women is kind of the whole point of having a society. Right. So that's good. And in exchange for that, men got treated with like respect kind of by default. But now the position is flipped a lot where men are kind of treated like garbage by default. And they talk to like they're stupid, like they're dumb, like they're useless. If you hear the way women talk about men, it's still very, 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 in general, just like your average random woman, she's probably going to say something foul and derogatory because their opinions are derived from consensus. And because of what we talked about earlier, where the phone is telling them this and their social group is telling them this and the media is telling them this, all the messaging that they're getting tells them that the consensus is that men are garbage. So they're going to repeat it because they're deriving their opinion from consensus. And then men are kind of hearing that. Men are not, they're like, oh, fuck, man. They just hate us. I guess they don't want our help. I guess if I'm useless and stupid, then they don't want my help. All right. And so this has completely eroded the social trust, between men and women. And unfortunately, this has a lot to do more than anything with just how women are acting. And they're acting this way publicly and men are observing it. And they're like, all right, maybe the bear's going to help you. Take it easy. And I think this is like bad for society. You should, how you act is about the society you want to live in. You want to create the society that you actually want to live in. So if you want to create a society with good social norms, you have to act in a pro-social way, whether or not the individual person you're dealing with deserves it. And that means you should continue to help women, even if the individual woman you're dealing with is a twat, unfortunately. That's just how it is because we have to maintain the social norms because the society has to keep running. And society is not going to run if like men and women fucking hate each other. It's just not going to work. Right. But yeah, so women are noticing. They're noticing that men are not approaching them. They're noticing that men are not helping them. And they're noticing that there's little moments like this where the veneer, and look what they're doing. They're like whining into the phone and they're expecting people to feel bad for them. Imagine a man whining into the phone because he couldn't change a tire. Would anybody feel bad for him? No, of course not. But they're used to that presupposition that their problems matter to other people. And that's a type of privilege that they don't see. It's the water they swim in. Right? They can't see the privilege of, by default, the people around you care that you're suffering, care about your problems, and will extend a hand to try to help. And they only notice when it doesn't happen because they assume it does. I've had multiple flat tires in my life. Sometimes people do stop to help, but most of the time I was completely on my fucking own, whether it was raining or not. You know, whatever happened, I was completely on my fucking own. Like I couldn't reliably count on anyone to give a shit about me, you know, and that's the way through most of your adult life. If you're an adult man, you cannot rely on anybody to give a shit about you except for maybe your mom. That's how it is. So you kind of get used to it. You that makes you more capable when dealing with stuff. That kind of like assumption that you're on your own. That makes you better at dealing with stuff, and that's good. It's good, but unfortunately, like this is the breakdown in social norms that is downstream of this. And by the way, this is like what is going to make it harder because she has an inflated sense of what she's supposed to receive from the society, and she has no concept of what reciprocal responsibility she owes to the society. Like if you ask this young lady, I guarantee you she doesn't feel like she has a responsibility to have children, to continue the society, to create the next generation. She doesn't have an obligation to the ancestors to create the next generation. She doesn't have an obligation to do anything except for exactly what she wants or what makes her happy at a given moment to moment. She doesn't have any sense of greater obligation towards the future of the society in which she lives. Right. But she has a very, very, very deeply entrenched sense of what she is entitled to receive from the society and what social norms she is entitled to. She doesn't have a sense of what social norms she's obligated to uphold. Right. And that's the sort of breakdown of reciprocity. So a lot of men are saying, hey, if I help a woman, I'm going to get chastised. I'm going to get called a creep. I'm going to get called a misogynist. I'm going to get yelled at, or the person that I help is going to be completely ungrateful. So why should I do it? What do I get out of it for doing it? What do I get for putting myself in the situation to receive that kind of mistreatment? What do I get out of it? What benefit do I derive from doing that? And the answer is basically none. And so now we're learning from the man keeping discourse, like the benefits that I get as a man from being in a relationship with a woman. One of the big ones is emotional support, right? And making me feel supported and believed in. That's rad. That's a really cool thing that women can do that like serves as like a really significant, strong motivator for men. But if I'm not going to get that, then what the fuck is the point? If I'm going to get out of a relationship, you're going to make it harder for me to approach you because there's a very significant chance you're going to be hostile, or you're going to think that I'm a creep, or you're going to think that I suck, or you're going to be really mean to me, or you're going to blast me on social media or whatever, right? Or you're going to, so there's a really significant chance that me approaching you is not going to go well. And even if it does go well, what am I going to get out of it in terms of a relationship? Probably not emotional support, not cooking, not cleaning, not emotional support, not somebody just being nice to me. So I have to take on a disproportionate amount of risk and receive essentially nothing in return. Then I'm probably just like not going to pursue relationships, right? So that's the problem. I think that's where a lot of people are at with it, is that that's why I think that's why so many people are checking out. And what's I think really sad about this is the majority of people actually do not think this way. This is just what's immediately visible. Like, I think social media gives upset people a megaphone. And I've said this before. There's a lot of women who go on social media and they talk about the requirements that guys need to have. I need a guy who's 6'4" and does this, this, and this, and drives this kind of car or whatever. And then you actually look at who those women are fucking. It's never those guys. It's like I was talking about Chad from the vape shop, who's got a lazy eye and a slight paunch, and he's emotionally distant in a way that reminds her of her father. That's who she's fucking. And when Chad won't text her back because he forgot, that's when she goes online. It's like, if I'm going to date a guy, he needs to have he needs to be this tall, make this much money. And then as soon as, oh, it's Chad. As soon as Chad sends her a you up text, she's off. But that's where a lot of this hostility is coming from. It's like Chad from the vape shop is who she's fucking, and she can't get Chad to commit, So she's like mad at you, who's like actually like wants to like be nice to her because Chad won't commit. But she can't be mean to Chad because if she's mean to Chad, he's going to be like, babe, stop. And then he's going to not text her anymore. So she's mean to you because you'll stick around and tolerate it if she's mean to you. And so it's just like a society where a bunch of people are like paying it forward, and they're getting hurt over and over again, and they're projecting, and they're just like paying it forward, and it's just a big fucking mess. And this is what I'm saying. This is why I titled the show the way I did. There's no like dating advice that's gonna fix that. Just so you know, like it's fucking awful. You're wading through sewage. There's no other way to put it. You're just like dipping it's like you're cleaning a pool. Like you're dipping a net, like one of these pool nets in a sewage tank. And you're trying to find corn. And it's like, that's where all the corn is. Sorry. That's where all it is. It's just, you got to filter through other people's shit to get it. That's the only place we keep corn now. This is the way we do it here. Sorry. It's the way we do it here. I know this feels suboptimal, but this is how we do things. Yeah. It's like, this system feels terrible. We should do something different. And they're like, you are a misogynist. That's what happens. I swear to God. Anyway, let's see. What else are we doing in the chat? Her friend also sucks because if you're going to come help, at least use your phone to look up how to do it if you don't know how to. But no, yeah, that's right. It would be nice. Her friend is not actually helping. Her friend is just bitching about it on social media. Sorry if hijacking the chat, by the way. That's okay. At least somebody's chatting. That'll be nice. This is kind of a light viewership day. I don't usually do Friday shows, so this is new. We'll do, let's see, we got like hour 32. Yeah, I might do another one. Let's see. And this is like, let's do more. This is another one in the category of women almost understanding what's wrong, but not quite. Let's go ahead.
Guys to like text me more, to like, I dated this guy for like 5 minutes last year, and it was one of the rare times in my life where I was infinitely more into him than he was into me. It's not that he wasn't attracted to me. Our physical chemistry was the only thing we had in common. He just thought I was fucking weird, which like, not.
Yeah, so this is a guy who's fucking her but will not commit to her. Okay. Third stat. Let's listen to how she frames the relationship. Go ahead.
Wrong, King. But I remember being on our second date and being like, I'm kind of surprised that you asked me on a second date because like, the vibes were kind of off. It seemed like you weren't really into me. And he's like, yeah, I'm still figuring it out. At one point, the lack
that means I will fuck you, but I will not commit to you. Go ahead.
of interest was just really blatant. So I was like, hey, bro, like, I don't normally have to tell guys to like text me more, to like ask me out. So I'm going to assume that you're not interested and I'm going to move on.
Good for her, by the way. That is exactly what you should do if you find out that it's hard to get a guy to talk to you. That's good. So I got to give her credit. I got to give Neck Tattoo a credit on this one. Go ahead, sweetheart.
And he said the most offensive thing that anyone has ever said to me, which is, are guys normally just obsessed with you off rip? Yes. Yes, they are. So I obviously dump him, but like a month later or something, I think he reaches out to me. And again, I was much more into him than he was into me. So I fold immediately. We go out again. I had just gotten my back piece done. And so obviously I was wearing a backless top. And when he sees me, he goes, we get it. You have a back tattoo.
Excellent, Neg. Good work, bro. Probably watches the show. Go ahead.
After that statement, we still do end up having a good date. Like
That means sex, by the way. Go ahead.
there was chemistry there. There was just this like butting of heads that just didn't make sense. Once again, I dump him. And I would love to say that the story ends there, but a couple months after that, I message him on Instagram and I just was like, have you ever seen a girl come crawling back before? And he goes, yes, but this is my favorite one. And then we never spoke again. Like, he didn't reach out, I didn't reach out. That was the end of it. So anyway, do not date someone who, like, you're the more obsessed person, because it's mortifying. I was humiliated.
Yeah, so that, that's the guy that she actually likes who won't commit to her. And every guy she dates after this, there's a little part of her that's going to wish it was that guy. And then he's going to, like, if he texted her, that she would abandon that guy for the guy she actually likes. But she doesn't see the problem here. Now, to her credit, she actually, like, moved on from the situation because it wasn't serving her. Right. But she's still, like, interfacing with this. And I've had this where, like, I think women have a hard time taking a hit. Yeah, no. And to answer Greer's question, is this not common knowledge? No, it's not. They don't understand. Like, it's just not going to work with that guy. Like, that guy's just, like, not going to treat you good. Like, if he was going to treat you good, he would treat you good. And he's just not going to. Like, that's it. He just doesn't like you very much. That's it. And she's got all kinds of justifications other than he just doesn't like me very much. He's like, yeah, he's like attracted to me and stuff, and it's good, but we just, I don't know, something. He just thought I was weird, I guess. I don't know. So it doesn't like you very much. That's what that is. Likes you enough to stick things in you, but not enough to commit to you. And by the way, this is super avoidable. This is avoidable, but these kind of relationships create lasting damage in the dating pool because she's hung up on that guy because she's now admitted to reaching back out to him multiple times, probably will again, by the way. We'll be thinking about it when she's in the relationship with the next guy, because the next guy is her second choice. She wants that guy. She can't have that guy. So she's with the guy she can have, not the guy she wants, right? So that's going to create problems. And she, likes this guy enough that she's now not only reached out to him multiple times, but probably made a TikTok, but now she's made a TikTok about him. So these are the kind of relationships that are fucking undermining the whole system, right? So this is what I say all the time. Do not fuck mids. Don't pump and dump mids just because it makes you happy. Just because it's easy in the short term and they say yes to whatever you say. Don't do that. If you're a person who could do that, don't do that. It's bad for you. It's bad for you. Don't do it. And it's bad for them too. And it fucks it up for the next guy. Yeah. Yeah, but no, this is women are, again, this is an example of women starting to notice that something's wrong. Like, she actually had a fairly rational analysis of that, where she came to the conclusion that the right idea was for her to move on, which is great. That's awesome. It's not like, how do I get him to, but also, like, feeling entitled to, like, assuming a man is going to be obsessed with you immediately is also disordered. Remember that the binary choice she presented is date someone you are obsessed with or date someone who is obsessed with you. There was no choice mentioned where it's like, get to know someone at a reasonable pace gradually over time and form like a foundation of friendship and then move into a relationship. Like, that's not. She's still operating under the assumption that the best way to date people is to start fucking immediately and hope for the best, which is like the best dating advice most people have. And again, most of the people you're interfacing with have heard something like that. I've heard some variation of that advice. And the reason people follow that advice, by the way, is because for a lot of people, it does work. A lot of people, the people they're dating now are people they started fucking and didn't stop. Sometimes that works. It's just not reliable. It's just you might end up getting ran through by a bunch of different people before that happens. But the reason people keep doing it is because everybody knows somebody who just started fucking someone and didn't stop, and now they're married. It's a bad strategy, but it does work sometimes, and most people don't know a better strategy. The other thing, I talk about this all the time, a lot of times whores win twice. It's just because of the way we have things structured. Because when they're young, they get ran through, and then when they're late 20s, they just like go to church and like find some guy who's kind of a dweeb that will marry them and doesn't give a shit that she used to be a whore because she's like hotter than he could usually do, and he has money now. So they'll like fuck exciting guys in like early in life, and then later in life they'll like marry some dweeb who has money, and then they get everything they wanted. They win at both ends, you know. So there's like our society doesn't offer good incentives for women to not be promiscuous and to be virtuous, and it like doesn't offer good incentives for that. And the incentives for men to be virtuous are like fucking terrible, because you could like just like, because if you because it's like, if you like if you work really hard and you delay gratification and you're really stable and you have your shit together, you're probably like you're going to be getting married later in life, and most of the women that are available to you are going to be ran through anyway. So it's like, who cares? Who cares? Like that virtuous woman at the end of the rainbow probably isn't going to be there. It probably doesn't exist. You're probably getting somebody with some serious fucking baggage. And the other thing too is like, you know, getting like being rapidly like promiscuous earlier in life doesn't prevent you from getting your shit together later in life and, you know, figuring it out. And everybody's like so fucked up and has so much baggage now. It's like people are kind of whatever about it. Like a lot of the discourse you hear about like body count and all that stuff is really just like online nonsense. But the fact is, like, slutty people, generally speaking, don't have trouble getting married. Staying married is different. And that's why I think if you look across this stuff, across the long-term timeline, like across a long enough timeline, the choices you make in your past always catch up to you. They always catch up to you. Getting married and staying married are a different thing. You know, building long-term stable relationships requires you to rewire your brain out of promiscuity. And that's something a lot of people do not do as they transition from the hoe phase to the relationship phase. But this is advice I would, you know, always give to people. You need like a couple of years to detox to get out of your like hoe phase. You need that, you know, because you got to fucking rewire your brain, because promiscuity fucks with your brain. It fucks with your reward system. It's like not good. So don't fucking do it. I'm not recommending it, but like our society just offers really, really, really poor incentives for being a good person. Like it basically just shits on people who are virtuous and rewards like selfish behavior. It's like the incentives are the opposite of what you would want if you wanted people to be good people, which is like terrible. Thank you. Let's see. If you both aren't drawn to each other when you are not in the same room, it's not going to work. That's true. That's the thing. You kind of just got to like each other. Like, that's important, guys. It just is. I'm sorry. I wish it weren't. I wish you could just marry like ugly, nice people you don't like that much. I wish you could. You can't. If you want it to work, you got to like each other. Sorry, just is what it is. Doesn't mean you got to marry a supermodel or whatever, but you got to like each other. There's got to be something. And I think like getting like ran through by guys that are way out of their league has like kind of fucked women's brains a little bit. And it's not every woman that has done this, but it's a lot of them have done this at this point. And it's fucked their brains a little bit. And so returning them to factory settings is going to be very tough. And this is true. Like, there aren't as many guys who've been rapidly promiscuous, but like speaking from that perspective, it does fuck your brain, and you get used to infinite variety, and it can become very, very hard to stick with one woman after that, unless you do the work of rewiring your brain, because you get used to variety and you just get bored easily, you know. But that's the truth. Is like the reason you're chasing more and more and more varieties, because you're not actually getting what you're looking for. What you're looking for is intimacy, and what you're getting is cheap dopamine. And intimacy is actually like way better and way more fulfilling. And actually, it's impossible to have a good sexual relationship without emotional connection. You may think you're having good sex. You're not. You think you are, but it's like nothing. Once you have that like emotional intimacy component, like nothing fucking beats it. It's impossible to beat that. You know, that's what you have, like, what you're actually using, instead of like using sex to pass the time. If you're actually like using sex to build a stable relationship with a human being that you love and value, that's a whole different fucking ball game, dude. It's a whole different ball game. And our culture does not talk about that. It's just like, ugh, it's like two humans laying down together is the same as, you know, a dog humping a dirty pillow. You know what I mean? That's how our culture talks about sex. And it's just like not like that. Oh, look, comments agree with me. I like that. I know for a fact slutty people can't stay married. Men, listen to this, man. No, this is true. It's true. And I think what happens with, especially in young marriage, a lot of times women, especially young women, have a lot more sexual access than young men. So a lot of times as a young man, you'll be like, oh, goody, I get to marry a beautiful woman. And she's already been like ran through by the Los Angeles Lakers. And you don't even realize it. And you don't even realize it. And then you don't. And that makes it super challenging to deal with them. And it's like you don't realize how much that disparity of experience matters until later. Then you kind of get it. You're like, oh, okay. And when it starts to even out, like late 20s, early 30s, it starts to even out. And you're like, and then you've kind of like, oh, fuck. Okay, now I understand. Once you kind of like, I don't agree with Myron Gaines when he says you need to fuck 50 women before you get married. I think that's stupid fucking advice. But you will learn a lot about women from dealing with them. And you'll learn about what they like and what they don't like and what kind of makes them tick and stuff like that. And what the society tells you is like not real. Like that women are like magical fairy creatures who will fix all your problems is not real. That is not real life. Like the women are humans. And so they have the same flawed human nature as everybody else. And yeah, that's tough. Let's go with this one. Let's go. This is more women are starting to notice that something is wrong. Go ahead.
If you guys want,
hold on. Go ahead.
Want to take away abortion rights, if you want to tell us that we can't take painkillers while pregnant because it causes autism, if you want to take all this shit away.
For the record, I don't believe that. I think autism is awesome and we should be causing more of it. Go ahead.
Take away my right to work. Take away my fucking right to have a fucking job. I don't want to work. I don't want to work. Okay? I don't care about women's suffrage, frankly, after everything else.
Watch her friend shame her in the background and watch her backpedal. Go ahead.
I don't mean it like that. You guys get what I'm saying. If you're gonna take away anything, take away my right to work. I will gladly sit at home and make a fucking sandwich if it means I don't have to go outside in this public hellhole every single fucking day where everyone's a psycho MAGA. I can't take this anymore. You're telling me that pregnant women can't take over-the-counter painkillers? How does that make sense? How?
I think probably 90% of women want to be work optional. Probably like 90%. It's not that they desperately want to work. It's like they would like to have the option to work and they don't like being told that they can't. And I think they feel the same way about voting. It's like, hey, I would like to, it's not that I want to vote particularly or that I want to be involved in politics. I just don't like being kept out. And I think that's why they're always trying to infiltrate men's only spaces. I have a video to get to about Dungeons and Dragons here in a bit. I'll probably save that for Touch Grass. But that's what it is. They don't actually want to be in. They just don't like being left out. And a lot of times they'll find out that being in, like with the workplace, they don't fucking like it. It's fucking terrible. They wanted this to be an option and now it's a necessity for survival. And they're like, I don't like this. This is terrible. And, most women feel that way. There are some women who are like very insistent that they get a lot of fulfillment from their careers or whatever. I don't meet a lot of them in real life. I see most of them in like Tyler Perry movies or just like TV shows. That's where I see all the women who are like super psyched about their career. Everyone I know in real life is like, it's fine. And some like a lot, like especially meet lady lawyers too. It's like a lot of them are like, just like, they've just like fucking dead behind the eyes. Like, it's just, for most people, their career is a source of a tremendous amount of like stress and bullshit, and in general, like, makes them feel worse on a day-to-day basis. And most people would not do it if they had the choice to not do it. You know, I'm not sure women are built for like having like 50, 60 years in the same, or like 40 or 50 years in the same industry and then like retiring. Like, I don't think women are built for that, really. I know there are women who do it, but I think broad strokes, I think women would prefer not to do that. I think they would prefer to, it's not that women don't like work. It's just they want to do work they want to do that's like more suited to them. And we're like pretending that's not true, but it definitely is. I think there's a lot of women in like miserable fucking jobs who would very, very much prefer to be work optional. So they're noticing, at least. They're noticing. They're noticing that something's not right. I think they have the general sense that society's a little bit topsy-turvy and that they're being asked to do things that they should not be asked to do. I think they're getting that, but it's taking time. Let's see. What else can I show you guys? Yeah, I'll probably save that. Save that. Save that. Yeah. Yeah. I might do one more of these. No, I'll probably save this. All right, guys. I think I'm probably just gonna save the rest of this for the Saturday show. This has been a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna wrap this bad boy up. This has been good. We've been cooking for just about 2 hours. I think the rest of this I'm gonna save for my Saturday show. By the way, I do another show called Touch Grass with Theo Snodgrass. That's a panel show. I do that every Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Come back this Saturday to see the rest of the videos I wanted to talk about. We talk about, these are the kind of issues we talk about on this show. We're just kind of prattling on. This is the point, I guess, is like what I'm trying to put a fine point on it, is that there's no dating advice that is going to fix this level of delusion. There's nothing you could do about this. Like, if you meet somebody who's just like horrifically delusional, just keep it pushing. It's not worth it. Just keep it pushing. It's not worth it. Just find somebody who has some kind of like reasonable connection to reality and go from there. And the cool thing about this is what I say why I always say approach people with genuine curiosity, is because you can find this out about people very quickly by just being genuine. You don't have to ask, are you a feminist? Just ask them literally any question and then shut up and let them talk and see what happens. Because they'll just keep going and going and going and going and going. And then you'll find out what they think about stuff. Just be like, oh, really? Say more about that. Like, if you don't know what to say, just be like, oh, really? Say more about that. And then watch. And they'll just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And eventually they'll say something crazy. And you'll be like, there it is. And if they go for long enough without saying anything crazy, get her pregnant. That's my advice. Get her pregnant. Clip that. Get her pregnant. That's my advice. All right. Yeah, dude, it's pretty fucking horrible. Not enjoying it, not having a good time. Most of this, we're going to go over some more of this on the Saturday show. But yeah, for those of you that enjoy, I do Touch Grass with Theo Snodgrass every Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. I also do this show Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific time for those of you that are hard at work on laptop jobs. I want to provide some relief, or people who are catching up with the show, watching the replay. I love you replay viewers as well. So once again, my name is Theo Snodgrass. I am a comedian podcaster out of Las Vegas, Nevada. If you want to come see me do live comedy, or if you want to watch my show, follow me on YouTube, follow me on Instagram, follow me on X. That is going to be the most important place for you to get a hold of me. Subscribe to the Patreon, do whatever you got to do. And in the meantime, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you today, wherever you may be. Thank you so much for making me a part of your day. And now enjoy the intro to my other show, Touch Grass, as the outro to this show. Thank you very much.
Look at that crack. Stanley's cracks look good. This Johnson cracks look good. No.
Are we looking at ours as cat now?
Yes.
Is that
Sorry,
what-
I didn't hear a damn thing you said.
All right.
And cause I was a gazillionaire and I like building so much, I cut that price for free.
The species is dying, the birth rate is plummeting, women are chopped. But yeah, you know what? Get a fucking cat.
I know even more about grass.